JUNAIDI disagrees with the new Malaysia agreement proposal. PM extends AIDILADHA wishes to KELUARGA Malaysia. PM calls on Muslim to fight inflation and help the needy. Those are the headlines for tonight. I'm Hendy Gui and this is TVS Nightline. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Parliament and Law, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, has described the proposal to have a new Malaysia agreement as nonsense. Instead, he said the existing Malaysia Agreement 1963, known as MA63, is a commitment that had been agreed upon by all quarters for the formation of the Federation of Malaysia.
Elaborating further, the Member of Parliament for Santubong said, what is being demanded by Sabah and Sarawak now is not to renegotiate the existing agreement, but the fulfillment of matters that have already been agreed upon.
Kerana di situ letaknya janji-janji kita untuk menarik Sarawak dan Sabah jadi sebahagian menubuh Malaysia itu dulu.
He told reporters this after the symbolic handing over of sacrificial cows for his constituency in conjunction with tomorrow's Aidilahda celebration on Saturday. Earlier, Barisan Nasional BN Deputy Chairman Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan, when addressing the BN Sabah Convention in Penampang recently, suggested that the Sabah BN leadership propose a new Malaysia agreement as a more concrete way forward towards realizing the state's rights and demands enshrined in the MA63. Wan Junaidi said, among the contents of the MA63 to influence Sarawak to form the Federation of Malaysia at that time was the promise of development as the peninsula was more advanced than the state.
Harapan dia ialah supaya Sarawak tu sama peningkatannya, pembangunannya dengan Semenanjung.
Muslims in Malaysia and around the world will be celebrating the Eid Aidiladha, which begins tomorrow. With that, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob today wished the Keluarga Malaysia a joyous Eid Aidiladha and happy holidays to those celebrating. In a Facebook post, Ismail Sabri also hoped that all those returning home will drive carefully and prayed that they will safely arrive at their respective destinations.
Ismail Sabri said, Aidilahda this time around is celebrated with repentance, sacrifice, togetherness, and gratitude. He added, the willingness to sacrifice wealth to help the poor is called for in Islam, as it symbolizes obedience, piety, and servitude to the Almighty Creator. He also expressed his gratitude to the Almighty because Muslims were able to fully celebrate Aidilahda once again this year after 2 years of facing the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, Ismail Sabri said, Aidilahda teaches Muslims to be grateful for the blessing granted by the Almighty and willing to sacrifice to help the needy so that they will not be marginalized. He said it was in line with the concept of the Keluarga Malaysia, which he introduced in August last year to ensure that no one is left behind. In facing economic challenges, which are felt globally, Ismail Sabri said the government was doing its best to address the impact of global inflation, including setting up a special team dubbed Jihad Tangani Inflasi or Jihad on Addressing Inflation, to unite all relevant ministries and agencies to resolve the difficulties faced by members of Keluarga Malaysia. However, he said, the government could not do it alone. Instead, it needed all members of Keluarga Malaysia to work together to address the challenges. Ismail Sabri also called on members of Keluarga Malaysia to set aside political differences and prove their repentance and gratitude by jointly enhancing the dignity of religion, as well as fostering good relations with friends from other races and religions. He also expressed his hope for the well-being and safety of more than 14,000 Malaysian pilgrims in Mecca and for them to accomplish Haji Mabrur.
There are no cases of the foot and mouth disease (FMD) involving local cattle and goats in Sarawak so far. This was ensured by the Minister of Agriculture, Modernisation and Regional Development of Sarawak, Dr. Sri Dr. Stephen Rundi Untom. In addition, Sarawak has banned the import of cattle from Indonesia following the detection of the disease in West Kalimantan. Therefore, Dr. Rundi reiterated that Sarawak is still free of the disease and the animals sacrificed are healthy as well as disease-free. Meanwhile, Dr. Rundi also assured that the supply of cows for Hari Raya AIDILADHA in Sarawak, which falls on July 10th, is adequate. He added that Sarawak needs about 2,000 cows every year. He also reminded that as long as the sacrificial animals are placed in the mosque, surau or village, their welfare shall be taken care of, such as given adequate food and drink, and ensure the heifer is not pregnant. BIRO WANITA or Women Bureau are useful institutions for women in longhouses. Batong Member of Parliament Dr. Robert Lawson CHUAT said they are the platforms to sow and nurture the seed of cohesiveness, strong ties and cooperation. CHUAT said they are also the most appropriate mediums for the exchange of ideas and knowledge, which can contribute toward better housekeeping skills and a better standard of living. CHUAT said this when representing Deputy Premier Dato Amar Douglas Uga to officiate at the formation of a Biro Wanita at R.H. Simon Boniface in Babu Dalit near Batong today. He added that such bureaus were very active in preserving and promoting cultural skills. He ensured that the government will do its part to offer assistance if needed. There are currently a woman bureau each in all 94 longhouses in the Bukit Saban constituency. Meanwhile, touching on politics, he said Sarawak was a very stable state now under the GPS administration. He said GPS is hopeful of winning 28 of the 31 seats to be contested in the 15th general election. Coming up right after the break, the consequences of early exposure to gadgets, economy to strengthen in second quarter. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned.
Kecemasan boleh saya bantu?
Welcome back. Now, a toddler's development would see them crawl vigorously, start to walk, and even babbles as they learn to talk. As a sign of communication with their surroundings, this can be seen at the age of between 15 to 18 months. The speech and language development are as follows. They can point to an object or picture when it is named for them and recognize the names of familiar people. However, this is not the case for Chai Kang Hui, a businessman turned one-stop early intervention center at Pusat Integrasi Pintar Kuching, when his child was diagnosed with speech delay, having just a handful of words by the time he was 18 months old. Here's his story on how he started his one intervention center to help children who suffered the same afflictions as his.
Chai noticed that his son, Lucas Chai Xiao, was having trouble speaking, as he could only utter 2 or 3 simple words like Papa and Mama. He became worried about his speech and language development as he and his wife had to check with experts that were very limited in Kuching.
Okay, anak saya keadaannya dia hyperaktif dan non-verbal juga. So, lepas satu hari kan, dia ada sakit, dia pergi jumpa doktor. Masa itu doktor kata sama saya, anak saya ada sedikit masalah, suruh saya pergi jumpa doktor pakar yang untuk cek lah. So dari sana saya baru tahu anak saya ada problem speech dengan development delay juga.
He expressed regret that children nowadays are exposed to excessive screen time without supervision from their parents. Chai went on to say that children should only have a minimum screen time to avoid such problems. On average, he said children spend an estimated 7 hours in front of a screen.
Mereka tengok gadget itu teknologi kan, so mereka fokus cuma itu gadget saja, so tak ada komunikasi dengan orang lain, sama sekali ibu sama tak ada juga. So lama-lama macam keadaan di macam dia environment macam ni, so dia tidak komunikasi lah, tak mau komunikasi dengan orang lain. Ini masalah besar lah untuk masa zaman sekarang lah, terlalu banyak gadget ni.
Meanwhile, an occupational therapist, Kwe Hyun, noted that at least 91 children out of 100 in Malaysia were affected by speech delay.
For Malaysia, the studies define that 54.9 of them actually experiences speech delay. And the other percentages will be neurodevelopmental delays such as ASD and ADHD and so on.
Kwe Hyun said a 2-year-old toddler should at least acquire around 30 to 50 meaningful words and can combine 2 words to make simple sentences such as love mommy, and kids from 2 to 3 years old can acquire about more than 50 words and should start combining 2 or more words into phrases. Kwe Hyun added that the symptoms of speech delay are children heavily rely on their body language to communicate and eye contact.
For speech delay, of course we can see most of them they will point, they will use gestures, body gestures to point. Some even they push their parents, like they want to eat or they want to drink milk and so on. They will use body gestures. They don't express it verbally.
From his observation, he noted that there has been a significant surge in child speech delay cases, especially during the movement control order, whereby most parents who were working from home had to give gadgets to their toddlers due to task constraints. As for tips, he recommends parents to spend time with their children, especially outdoor, to interact with other children. He further said that excessive use of technology may impair their development and irreparably affect their future.
For every 30 minutes of screen time, there's a 49% risk of children suffering from speech delay. This is indeed alarming as technology plays an important part in our daily lives. I'm Reza Isaac and videographer Ahmad Nasrullah reporting for TVS Kuching.
There is no need to set up a Royal Commission of Inquiry (RCI) to investigate the floods and water surge phenomenon that hit several villages in Baling, Kedah recently. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Parliament and Law, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar said what was more important was to look at the existing aspects of law enforcement. Junaidi said RCI does not possess a specific power but only able to submit proposal for government consideration.
Lagi pun satu, RCI tidak ada kuasa untuk menguasa sebenarnya, tak boleh menangkap. Dia akan buat cadangan juga. Dia buat cadangan saja. Dan akhirnya makan masa mungkin 6-7 bulan buat rumusan dan laporan. Laporan akan dibentang di Parlimen, akan dibincang di Parlimen. Dan lepas itu dia balik kepada Jemaah Menteri dan Jemaah Menteri akan milih juga mana satu yang dikuatkuasakan.
He told reporters after the symbolic presentation of cows for the AIDILADHA sacrificial slaughter for the Santubong parliamentary constituency on Saturday. The 4 p.m. disaster claimed 3 lives while more than 1,400 residents had to be evacuated to 3 relief centers. Wan Junaidi says the main issue to look at in the flood issue in Baling is the role of the enforcement officers in carrying out their duties.
Sebabnya bagaimana mungkin boleh perkara ini berlaku di depan mata kita sendiri walaupun di atas bukit. Tak mungkin kita tak tahu. Mesti kita tahu. Jadi mana letaknya pegawai perhutanan, di mana letaknya pegawai pihak-pihak penguatkuasa yang lain. Tak adakah kita boleh mengetahui? Ataupun tiap-tiap orang terkejam mata saja, tak ambil tindakan. Jadi ini balik-baliknya ialah pihak penguatkuasaan yang penting menguatkuasakan undang-undang. Dan jangan ada fear and favor untuk menguatkuasa ni. Tidak kisah siapa yang terlibat. Tidak kisah siapa yang terlibat. Ambil tindakan.
Meanwhile, commenting on the proposal for a special parliamentary session to discuss the issue of the price of goods, Wan Junaidi said it was not necessary. He explained that this was because the Dewan Rakyat session would begin on July 18, and members of parliament could submit any motion during the sitting.
Jadi dalam keadaan demikian, saya memikirkan kalau kita nak ada satu persidangan yang juga akan menelan belanja yang besar untuk tiap-tiap ahli parlimen turun, tiap-tiap pegawai-pegawai tambahan untuk berkhidmat dengan parlimen turun kerja, maknanya kerajaan akan berhadapan dengan satu kos yang tidak diperlukan dalam masa. Jadi dalam keadaan demikian, ahli parlimenlah bertanggungjawab untuk melihat sama ada peluang dan ruang. Dan speaker akan memberi keputusan, bukan saya, sebab parlimen tu dia asing.
Now, following the encouraging gross domestic product growth of 5% in the first quarter, the country's economy is expected to have continued to strengthen in the second quarter of this year. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said this includes continued improvement in wholesale and retail trade. Adding further, the Finance Minister said the economy is gradually improving and has started to expand based on various indicators for May 2022. As such, to accelerate the recovery momentum, the Ministry of Finance has kick-started engagement sessions in an effort to establish measures that take into account the needs of various stakeholders. Based on the latest developments, he said, the country is set to achieve the forecast growth of 5.3% to 6.3% in 2022, in line with the projections made by the International Monetary Fund and World Bank. Meanwhile, among the May 2022 indicators that pointed to an improvement in the country's economy was a drop in the number of unemployed people to 637,700 from 649,300 in the preceding month, with the national unemployment rate remaining at 3.9%. As such, he noted that the labour market recovery continued to stabilise in May 2022 in tandem with a higher demand for goods and services. Now on to some global affairs. The body of Shinzo Abe, the slain former Japanese Prime Minister, was returned to Tokyo on Saturday afternoon accompanied by his wife. Abe's wife, Aki, was seated in one of the vehicles that left Nara Medical University Hospital, where he was treated after being fatally gunned down on Friday, July 8, by a 41-year-old man. Abe had been taken to the hospital in cardiopulmonary arrest and showed no vital signs. He was declared dead at 5:03 p.m., having bled to death from deep wounds to the heart and the right side of his neck. Meanwhile, following Shinzo Abe's assassination, many Japanese people say they are shocked and concerned about public security during the upcoming House of Councillors election in July. The longest-serving Prime Minister for Japan was shot in public by a gunman during a speech in the western city of Nara when campaigning for his Liberal Democratic Party in Sunday's upper house election. Abe, 67, fell to the ground and was seen bleeding after he was shot from behind at 11:30 local time.
よく選挙の演説今渋谷でやってるのを見て、いやもうそこら辺でも本当にいつ誰かがその候補者を狙ってるかもしれないっていう状況だなっていうのを感じるので、すごい怖い気持ち。
怖いと思いました。日本も安全な国ではないなってすごく思いました。普通にもしかしたら自分も巻き込まれてたかもしれないと思って、とても恐ろしい事件だと思います。
今回の事件でやっぱり選挙に参加した時にやっぱ怖さとかがあるんで、ちょっと行きづらくなっちゃうかなって選挙に。
Abe's funeral is scheduled for July 12, said the report of Tokyo Broadcasting System late on Friday. Nara police said at a press conference on Friday that the gunman Tetsuya Yamagami, who is unemployed, got to know Abe's schedule from the internet on Thursday night and took a tram to the scene on Friday morning. Tetsuya Yamagami, an ex-maritime self-defense force officer, shot Shinzo Abe with a handmade gun measuring 40 centimeters long and 20 centimeters wide. Further police investigation found more handmade guns and explosives discovered at the suspect's home. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has announced that he is terminating his $44 billion deal for Twitter, saying that the social media company had failed to provide information about fake accounts on the platform. Following this decision, shares of Twitter fell 6% in extended trading. In a filing, Musk's lawyer said Twitter had failed or refused to respond to multiple requests for information on fake or spam accounts on the platform, which is fundamental to the company's business performance. Musk had threatened to hold the deal unless the company showed proof that spam and bot accounts were fewer than 5% of users who see advertising on the social media service. Last month, Twitter allowed Musk access to its Firehose, a repository of raw data on hundreds of millions of daily tweets. Twitter's board chair Brad Taylor said the company is committed to closing the deal on the price and terms agreed upon with Musk and plans to pursue legal action to enforce the merger agreement. On his official Twitter account, he said Twitter will pursue legal action against Musk and are confident that they will prevail in the Delaware Court of Chancery. In April, Elon Musk announced the $44 billion acquisition of Twitter. However, the deal was put on hold, pending details on the number of the social platform spam and fake accounts which Twitter has failed to give. Now, players and officials from Manchester United Football Club arrived in Bangkok on Saturday, July 9th, to a roaring crowd as hundreds of Thai fans gathered at the airport to welcome them ahead of a pre-season clash.
Club manager Erik ten Hag, midfielder Bruno Fernandes, and goalkeeper David De Gea were among those who were present. Star player Cristiano Ronaldo did not travel with the squad after he was given time off to deal with a family issue, a source at the Premier League club said on Thursday, July 7.
การที่คนใหม่ก็ผมรู้สึกว่าอีริกเทนฮากเข้ามาเนี่ยทำให้สร้างแรงบันดาลใจให้กับนักเตะเยอะนะครับนักเตะทุกคนมีกฎระเบียบเยอะแยะ นะฮะก็คือเขาก็พยายามปรับตัวให้เข้ากับโค้ชใหม่มีวิถีในการเล่นฟุตบอลแบบใหม่อย่างเงี้ยครับผมก็คิดว่าทีมของอีริกเทนฮากน่าจะพาแมนยูจบอันดับ2ได้ครับในซีซั่นหน้าก็รู้สึกผิดหวังนิดนึงครับที่โรนัลโดไม่มาแต่ว่าก็คือผมก็ยังชอบนักเตะคนนี้อยู่เพราะว่าเขาเป็นเหมือนเป็นไอดอลของผมนะฮะก็คือเหมือนเราทำงานอะไรก็ประสบความสำเร็จทุกขั้นเหมือนโรนัลโดเขาก็ไปฝึกซ้อมให้กับทีมไหนก็ได้ที่เขาสามารถร่วมทีมได้แล้วก็ฟังโค้ชได้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยครับแต่อาจจะเนื่องด้วยเหตุการณ์ที่เราไม่ได้ไปแชมเปี้ยนลีกก็เลยจะทำให้โรนัลโดเขาเปลี่ยนใจที่จะย้ายทีมนะครับ
ชอบค่ะเพราะแบบเล่นเก่งครับแล้วก็รับลูกได้บ่อย
United's tour gets underway against Liverpool in Bangkok on July 12th before games against Melbourne Victory and Crystal Palace. They also face Aston Villa in Perth on July 23rd.
July 10th this year marks the day Muslims in Malaysia and some parts of the world celebrate the Hari Raya Aidiladha. Tune in to Sejahtera Asia tomorrow on a special Hari Raya Korban edition with Maliana Rajaland from Dakwah Hikmah Kuching branch and also Maimun Muhammad Saleh, who will be sharing her life journey as a single mother. 7:45 a.m. on TVS Extra Channel 122 and My Freeview. See the world closer with TVS. As we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally, just a click away by heading on to our website at TVSTVMY or follow us on our social media platforms. That's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. Before I go, on behalf of TVS, I would like to wish all our viewers a Selamat Hari Raya Aidiladha. May this Eid bring you good memories and never-ending prosperity. I'm Handy Gui. Thank you for watching.